Welcome to a shopping for gifts in Sweden with a bit of a story, or rather a testimony. So in this video, I'll be showing you the different stores that we visited while we were in Sweden. And the purpose for that was to get some gifts for our loved ones back in South Africa. So I'd like to give a testimony because this was a traveling opportunity that I got solely because of my Heavenly Father. So I'm just going to give a bit of a background on where I started and how did I end up here, basically. So I graduated in 2022, and from there on, I was unemployed for some time, and I started job hunting without any positive response. I fell into depression for some time, but the best decision that I made was to grow closer to Christ. I read the word, and that's where I found comfort, to be honest. And just to share the favorite books that I read from the Bible that uplifted my soul, top 3 is Psalms, Proverbs, and Ecclesiastes. I learned a lot from those Bible books. And to proceed, in the year 2023, sometime in 2023, I got a job offer at a township school, and I obviously went for it. And even with how I got the job, it wasn't easy, and it taught me patience, to be honest, because I waited for several hours before my interview. And on the same day, after waiting for so long without eating and so forth, by the end of the day, I received the call that I got the job. I was thrilled and excited. It was my first job, and I knew that the transition is going to be hard. I didn't know well until I started working, and I realized that varsity is actually very different from the workplace. I started working there, and soon enough, I felt like I didn't really connect with the school as much as I would have wanted, and I felt like I'm not really growing. And don't get me wrong, I was really excited, and I'm still grateful for the opportunity, but at that time I felt like I needed more to grow and develop, especially because I was fresh from varsity and there's certain things that I didn't know about the workplace. So another thing is that in as much as I was working in that school, it was a couple of months contract. So by the end of the year, I knew that my contract had to end, and I didn't get any certainty as to whether it's going to get renewed or not. So towards the end of the year, I started job hunting, and I came across a job opportunity. There's a school next door. It had a post, and I took the opportunity. I applied, and just to show that Satan exists, I had doubt. I was hesitant. I was procrastinating during that time. And it shows that God can have a plan, but the devil will always try to play his role in trying to pull you back from God's plan. But God prevailed. His plans prevailed. And in the next year, I started working. And from the start, from like the beginning of the first day, I felt at home. I felt like, okay, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to grow. This is where I want to develop. And yes, it was quite different. I loved my first school, but I loved the school that I'm currently working. I still love it a lot more. So as the year progressed, we were introduced to committees. We had to be part of different committees. And obviously, as someone who isn't familiar with certain things, you just not go by out of ignorance or anything, but you just your excitement and curiosity. Well, my excitement and curiosity was very up, so I joined multiple committees, and one of them being the partnership committee. And with the partnership committee, it was solely because I was very inspired. When I thought of partnership, I thought of content creators partnering with different brands. That's what came to mind. So in my head, I was like, okay, this is an opportunity to actually reach out to multiple local brands to try and develop our schools and also help our learners, especially because we teach learners who come from disadvantaged backgrounds. But my knowledge was soon expanded because I learned that partnership is not solely about that. We also have partnered with a school in Sweden. And with this school, amazing things happen. in both sides because it's a cultural and educational exchange program. And obviously with travel opportunities whereby South African teachers get to go to Sweden to observe and gain some wisdom and knowledge which they can impart back in South Africa, and vice versa. Swedish teachers also come aside. So yes, God's plan prevailed in my life. God was like, and by trusting God's plan, I got to set foot in Sweden for the right purpose. It might have not been for leisure, but it was a fruitful, a very wonderful experience. My first international trip, which was fully paid and didn't have to take out a cent, except obviously for my personal preparation. But other than that, it was a wonderful experience, and I can only give glory to my Heavenly Father because it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Him. So the moral of the story is that you must trust God. He exists, number one. Number two, if you're going through a tough time, do not shy away from reaching out to Christ. There's a song that says Run to the Father by Cody Carnes. Check it out. That's the best place to be. So yes, this is just my story, and just to get back to the video a bit, the stores are quite different. It gives vibe, yeah, crazy store, but not so different. It's very clean, very more like crazy store. If you know crazy store, you know what I'm talking about, but you can also Google it. So yeah, that's a bit of a testimony and some motivation just to say that look up to Christ and everything will work out. Trust in the Lord with all of your heart and lean not on your own understanding.